When a giant entertainment company breaks records and makes history, one might hope that champagne bottles are being popped and celebrations are beginning. Such is not the case for the Walt Disney Company, Rachel Zegler, and everybody else involved in Snow White. For you see, history is being made. It's just not the way that Disney had hoped. The Snow White trailer now doing something that you just might not believe. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. We explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. All you have to do is sit back, sit tight, and we hope to add value to your day by bringing information your way that you would not receive otherwise. The only favor we ask in return is that you click that like button. And folks, it's time to dive into the disaster that is Snow White and the Seven Dirty Hippies. Snow White and the Seven CGI Monstrosities, and Rachel Zegler, who herself has been a monstrosity for Disney and their PR team. Let's show you right now how bad this is. The historic failure of the trailer. Here it is. Well, Disney has the neck inclination of an ostrich. Pro, what in the world are you talking about? Well.
Yikes.
Folks, take a look at the number down at the bottom. This is the news you need.
Yeah.
Take a look at that.
Lee.
I have never Galifianakis get on the screen. I got rid of him. Galifianakis.
Talk about annihilation. 81,000 to 1 million. Ali.
It has happened. Rachel Zegler is somehow less popular than Amanda Stenberg and the Acolyte. Rachel Zegler, star of the upcoming Snow White movie, has now achieved a 1 million dislike. Let me say it again, a 1 million dislike. And we said this was going to be a 10-to-1 negative to positive. It's just slightly more than that, but passing 1 million dislikes.
Can I have a hug? Give me a hug.
No way.
Come here.
I'm not coming over there.
Let's go.
Forget it.
Pronto.
What are you doing?
Why?
All right. So 1 million dislikes, and here's what I need. Panelists, tell me why. How did this happen? How can any trailer be this unlikable?
I know.
Share,
I know.
Go
I can't raise my hand. Her recent comments. I'm guessing it had to do with her recent comments with a certain free something. I'm not going to get any more into it, but I'm guessing it had to do with that and the reactions because of that. Am I close?
I think so. It also appears to me that this is a horrific-looking mutant CGI monstrosity that, well, it's just, I don't know how people are, look at this. Look at this. How can you possibly stand a full movie of this?
Why are the dwarves cleaning the freaking house?
Why are they whistling while they work?
She's building too.
Okay. She's an authoritarian.
Yeah.
Just look, okay? Let's pause it here. What? Who in their right mind said, you know what? We should make Snow White's world look like Mordor? Like, who came up with this?
Why does
look at this horrible place?
Why does Snow White look like Lord Farquaad's haircut on a tangent?
Yeah.
I
think it looks worse because if you notice, and Erika and I've talked about this before on my show in the Spice Lounge, her collar is supposed to be way higher than that.
Ooh.
And her hair should be a little longer and curled around the bottom, like the curl. I don't know what they called that style back in like the 50s or 30s. 30s, yeah.
Well, I think that they're going to use all kinds of horrible lighting, and I can't even, I've been clicking.
That's terrible.
I apologize, folks. I'm clicking like a madman trying to find a single frame that is clear. But this actually is a great example because the only time we get clarity, the apple is clear because it's real. When I click on to Gal Gadot's scenes, they're clear because she's real. When I click on anything to do with Snow White or the dwarfs, that's the best. We're stopping there. That's the best I can do. You know why there's not clarity? Because what they are doing with this movie is they are purposefully, in my opinion, overusing motion blur, terrible lighting, and a brown fade over everything to try to hide how bad the CGI is and to mix her in with it. The motion blur is intended to keep you from noticing just how terrible, uncanny valley this is.
Well,
Anyone have a different take on why it would be so difficult to get a normal shot out of this?
Well, that makes sense on that you put it that way, because when me and Lorena were talking about this when it was released on her show, we had brought up the observation her dress is so yellow. It's just, gosh. And I had mentioned, had they given her like a more of a cream colored bodice instead of that bright yellow to somewhat go with the background colors. But it
okay, so Erika, walk us through then the outfit, the costume, because from a male's perspective, to me, it looks like this outfit that she's wearing is atrocious. It does absolutely nothing to
it
give
does
her any
nothing
kind
for
of figure
her.
or positivity. Okay, walk us through why that is exactly.
Well, for one, she's not graceful. Snow White was always graceful there, and oh my God, the way she presents herself and she twirls, her movements are too sharp. And some of the dancing in
She's
that
more
scene,
like Anna out of Frozen. Is that's
yeah,
what
there's some
Rapunzel.
movements where they're just very sharp, and it's almost like a semi hip hop move, and she's not gliding like a ballerina. Snow White was graceful, and then her voice. Look, she's got a great voice. I will give her that. But for the role, her voice is just too strong and too bold, unless they just didn't train her on how to soften her voice, or maybe she can't. I don't know. But in the costume, in the Snow White cartoon, she didn't have long sleeves, and I get that can be neither here or there. But it's just the whole setting. The dress doesn't go with the setting, even though it's a Snow White dress, but there's just more to wearing a dress, for a girl than just, Lorena, help me out here. You're
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you. Role.
It looks bland.
Any Disney princess film that has come out, what is the number one thing that little girls want?
The dress.
When they see those movies, they want the dress.
Yeah.
Belle had a gorgeous, gorgeous dress. Sleeping Beauty had a gorgeous dress. I'm talking about animation. Even with the live action Cinderella, that dress was absolutely
But her movement, with the way she moved in that movie, that, she knew how to move with the dress.
Exactly.
And she nailed. I had heard they only had to do one take because it was done so perfectly, and she was graceful. Like, I don't know if she's got ballet training, the actress that did Cinderella, but oh my gosh,
probably that's what I'm thinking, because as a former dancer, when you do dress rehearsals, the reason why you do dress rehearsals with these dresses on, so that you get accustomed to the extra weight and how the dress goes in with your performance, and you kind of modify that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the 1937 cartoon, like you were saying, Snow White is very, very graceful in her movements. Her voice is very mellow and very soothing. But
soft.
with Rachel Ziegler, it's, her voice is really sharp. The songs have more of a hip hop designation than a classical designation, which is a real issue. I don't like this modification or hip hopification of a lot of these classic tunes. But that's what you have going on here. The dress doesn't look right. The dress is this really hideous shade of yellow. It looks cheap. It looks like something they threw together. It looks like something you could get at Party City. No insult to Party City, but it doesn't look like something someone would buy. And Erika, remember during our stream,
I was just going to bring that up. We went on Google Images and we looked up the cosplay costumes. If you just go on Google Images and type in Snow White costume, and there are people out there that have designed much better Snow White dresses than what the film has.
I'm sorry, but even sexy Snow White costumes at Party City look better than this.
Yes, yes, they do.
I want to approach this from a different way when you're talking about the trailer, though, quickly. Like, you know how, because I do the thumbnails and stuff, these types of Disney trailers that have this motion blurring and like color palette put over top, it's really hard to screen grab as well because they always look blurry. And it's very hard sometimes in editors to get to look clearing just to use an image out of it. It's the purposefully is done, and it doesn't invite people to actually enjoy it when you're using so many like matted or flat colors to try to show something that is about a princess that is literally Snow White, like it is a brightness within herself. They're taking that away at the same time. You're talking about the gracefulness of how she acts and dances. The grace of her whole story seems to be downplayed as well, just to highlight what.
Well, yeah, and
it is.
When you're
go ahead,
looking
Erika.
at the song, you know, she's got this very, you know, attitude because she's essentially teaching and telling the dwarves how to clean. And she's literally through the song pawning the chores off to them.
Whereas in the original, she thinks they're orphaned children and she's cleaning the house to be kind.
Yeah, right. And it's a complete opposite, and it shows. It even shows in her acting. She's got this very like snarky. It just it comes through in her acting, and it's just
sending.
So let me ask you this: watching the trailer, except for that one part right there, about 5 seconds of the dwarfs with the sun behind them, this looks to me like Snow White in the Temple of Doom. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
You're not.
So you're saying
it looks like Snow White in the Temple of Doom. It looks like she's about to try to throw the ring into the volcano, and Gollum is going to come out and get her. Except she appears to be the Gollum in this movie. So it very much, by the way, looks like Rings of Power. This is, in my opinion, a dead on arrival movie with something like a $500 million budget.
Yeah.
So let's talk box office. Considering this has hit now a 1 million dislike number on YouTube, do you all believe that this thing is going to absolutely fail at the box office, or do you think this is going to be one of those films that is so disliked that it's like Rebecca Black's Friday, where people can't help but go watch it?
No, this thing is going to go to hell on a handbasket with gasoline underwear on. I mean, it's so not appealing.
I give it 1 to 2 months before it's gone to Disney.
I think people are just so disgusted with Ziegler and then Disney in general. And it's just such a massive offense to, you know, Walt and the original Snow White. There's just too many factors that lead me to believe it's just going to flop. It might be the biggest flop of the year.
Do you think it's going to do worse than Little Mermaid?
Well, it has a budget of $500 million. Little Mermaid had something like a $330 million budget. So it has to. Yes, it has to be a bigger flop. In fact, at this point, we have to start considering that this could be the biggest flop in the history of cinema, which would take it away from number 2, which will be number 2, The Marvels, and number 3, Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. So you will have Disney clearly at the top 3, no doubt about it. The Flash had been in contention, but Disney will knock that right out of the top 3 spots. You'll have Snow White. I don't know how many hundreds of millions it's going to lose, but it's a bunch. Followed by The Marvels, which is excess of $200 million. And then Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, right at $200 million in losses. Here's the other thing to talk about, as it has crossed 1 million dislikes on YouTube. The other thing to talk about is this. We watched as Disney had a win this year. Let's take one of those wins. Inside Out 2. This movie, Snow White, is so bad that it could cut out almost all of the profits from Inside Out 2. That is how bad we are looking at in terms of a flop. So Disney had a win, and they're about to lose it all with Rachel Zegler and the 1 million dislikes. Final thoughts on this topic before we go into a Mandela panel. What do you think?
Ladies first.
I was just going to say, visually speaking, maybe it would have been a little better had they given her a different shade of yellow in her gown. And I know that doesn't save the film at all.
Well, the C-suite has a different color of yellow on all their pantsuits right now. After seeing these million dislikes, lots of yellow in the C-suite.
This film is such an insult to folks who loved the 1937 original. That original was a gold standard for a reason, from storytelling, from animation, and even to this day, just watching it, just how much of a triumph it was, and a story that everyone could relate to. So now they're going to change all of that to, instead of having a Snow White who is very thankful and grateful and unselfish, to this selfish mess
Is
that's
this the
coming
end of
out, and it
Ziegler's
makes me
career,
angry.
Serena?
It'll sink it for a while, I think, for a little while, and then she'll come back, and if she's smart, she'll know, stop insulting the people who go to see the films.
I think you might see her pop up on like a Netflix series, or you might see her on a Hallmark channel, something or another. I don't think that she's going to get another shot at a big leading role in a movie after this one. Whether it's her fault or not, like, this movie is a train wreck in every possible way, but she's never had a win. She's never
No.
succeeded at the box office. And those who say, "Oh, well, look at the Hunger Games," yeah, go look at the other Hunger Games and see what hers did, and compare those box offices. The drop off is insane. So, folks, we have come to the end, sort of like the ability of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves to make money for Disney. It's just Snow White, though. They don't even have the Seven Dwarfs in the title, right? Disney, Walt Disney, probably not in the title. They should just leave this alone. It should be somewhat Snow White, the end. That should be the title of it. Well, folks, we're at the end. We only ask that you click the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as always, it has been a joy to spend time with you. We hope you're having a wonderful week. Take care out there. Make the world a better place. And until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.